Hello and welcome to Fraggle Talk Classic, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. My name is Beth and I am rewatching for the millionth time.
My name is Julia and I'm rewatching for the first time in 10 years.
My name is Adam and I'm just a little bit off to one side because I'm listening to this podcast for the first time.
Wow. Okay.
Hold on, that doesn't work because I'm watching it for the first time. Wait. My name is Adam, and I'm very tired.
Excellent.
Perfect. And today we are talking about episode 14 of season 2, The Secret of Convincing John, which originally aired on April 2nd, 1984, written by B.P. Nickel and directed by George Bloomfield.
This episode ruled.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a personal vendetta against the toxic positivity industry as somebody with depression, so just getting to watch just such a perfect satirical skewering just made me so happy.
Oh yeah, there's a lot to dig into here. So we open with Doc and Sprocket in the workshop. Doc is reading a book called The Power of Positive Thinking, which right there, you know we're getting set up for something interesting.
Mm-hmm. I also wanted to point out, they've been killing with little details. That book is being propped open and held open by like this big sort of coil of wire spring that it's leaning on, which is the most Doc thing ever. Like using setting an environment as a way to express character details is some like high-end storytelling. And that, I think there's another one later that I pointed out that made me very happy. But that one is really cool. And they don't even draw attention to it. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love those little details.
Speaking of things that's just there, has there been a tap and sink there that whole time? Have we ever seen that before?
There was a thing with the water in the episode with the pipe bangers, like turning the water on and off, but I'm pretty sure it was a different setup.
Yeah, I don't think we saw him I think he was just complaining that the water was gone. I don't think we saw him like fiddle with pipes and stuff.
He definitely fiddled with pipes in the pipe banger episode, but I don't know
faucets.
Yeah, faucets.
Pipes.
Yeah, I don't know if there was a full sink set up there.
Anyways, so he's like, I'm going to get into positivity, which I'm going to try not being angry and instead being happy. And then immediately something happens that makes him cranky. And he's like, mustn't be cranky. Instead of calling the landlord, I'm just going to fix it myself. This is an opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Oh, boy.
So then what happens?
Well, so the reason he goes to get water from the faucet is because he lets us know that he's now the secretary of the Society of Tinkers and Inventors, which I guess means sending out, I don't know if he's like mailing out the minutes or something, but he's doing he's reading a book and also doing the task of like stuffing envelopes, and he's having Sprocket lick the stamps as he puts them on the envelopes, which here's the thing, as someone that works with dogs, the dogs would eat the stamps. They would be like, what is this? It tastes terrible. I must consume it. Which, I mean, I hate licking stamps. And so I'm like, I get maybe putting it on somebody else. But also, we don't lick stamps anymore. I guess I'm thinking of licking the envelopes.
Well,
right?
Back then, stamps were lickable,
I mean,
yeah.
I lick stamps, but that's more of a recreational thing.
Sure.
They're just so smooth.
But that's why he goes to get the water.
Feels good on my tongue.
Because Sprocket's like making like the motions of like, oh, this is gross, I've licked so many. He's like, oh, I'll go get you a glass of water, which the one positive thing Doc does this episode.
I mean, I think we're up to like 4 or 5, hey Doc, you actually did a good job being a dog owner moments.
Yeah, being a bud.
I still think I don't need more than one hand to count it, but
he's slowly getting better.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, I mean, speaking as someone who now owns a house, like, the thing about having a landlord is obviously there are landlords out there. Sorry, Beth.
No worries.
But you get to call them and be like, come and fix this thing for me. And you don't have to do it yourself. And I was like, Doc,
you
dude.
get to call them and say, come and fix this thing for me. And then if it's not something that's legally obligated for them to fix, they just don't do it most of the time.
They'll dance around, but... Yeah, that was my first thought, was just like, just call. What are you doing, man? He is a tinkerer, though, and so he presumably has Well, I don't know. I guess tinkering and plumbing are two very different professions now that I'm thinking about it.
There's some overlap in that Venn diagram.
A bit.
It's not a stack of pancakes, but there's some overlap.
Sure.
Wrenches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Copper.
Nuts and bolts.
Hydraulics. Corrosion-resistant treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Self-sealing stem bolts. Wait, no, that's Deep Space Nine. So we cut over to Gobo and Boober.
I love this opening, by the way, because they're just kind of just chilling and talking.
I love those moments. Yeah, they're just hanging out in Gobo and Wembley's cave.
Just vibing. Talking about what they're going to do for the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, convincing John is on his way to convince them all to become clowns.
There's definitely not any parallels to the toxic positivity industry. What are you talking about?
Whoa, I didn't catch that before.
Yeah.
Oh, dang.
So Wembley chimes in, and he's like, I want to go. And Gobo's like, wait, weren't you going to come with me to get my Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard? And Wembley's like, well, yeah, but I don't know. And then they're like, why are you still in bed? And he's like, well, I can't figure out what side of the bed to get out on. And I felt that.
Uh-huh.
I felt that.
Well, and I like how they're like, there's only one way to get out of the bed. It's a hole in the rock wall. And he's like, yeah, but you're supposed to get on the right side. So do I get out normal or do I turn around and get out from that side? And it's like, oh, Wembley, my dude, I feel for you. I've had those days.
Oh, yeah.
Same, dude. Same. So he winds up going with Gobo to outer space. And there's another one of those little details that I want to point out. There's a bit where Wembley ducks under a pipe, and he puts his hands on the pipe as he ducks under it. And it's just this perfect... He could have just gone, burp, burp, but no. They had to, like, use the little sticks to put them on the hand and to put the hands up on the pipe and then have him duck under. So he would do the thing that a lot of people do when they have to duck under pipes and just sort of, like, put a hand there so you don't bunk your little head on it.
Mm-hmm. And if it was both hands, then that would have required two people.
No seams in the world building.
Well, and he does that, and then he does end up bumping his head on the pipe, like, at the end of the scene, I think. I wrote down...
Yeah, because he doesn't put his hands on it. It's not just a great little bit of world building, it's also setup and payoff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think... Oh, yeah. So Gobo goes out, and he's like, whoa, there's a big hole in there.
Yeah, because Doc has, like, ripped up the floor to get to the pipes.
Like you do.
Like you do.
Rip up the floorboards, move past the still beating heart of your nemesis, and fill with the pipes.
Apt for October.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh.
Dum, 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 dum. I love the idea that Doc moved in after the guy who did the murder with the heart, and it's just still there, and he just hasn't questioned it.
He just finds it.
He's just like, oh, yes, that, Sprocket, these old houses sometimes have still beating hearts. But so Gobo's like, all right, Wembley, tie this rope off. I'm going to go into the hole to see if I can get my postcard. And poor Wembley can't decide what to tie the rope to, and Gobo falls.
Now, Gobo's fine, of course, but, he comes back like, I almost killed myself, and Wembley is freaking out. I almost killed my best friend.
I do appreciate that we are getting to see that, like, yeah, if you don't manage this kind of thing in situations with stakes, like, there's consequences.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm deciding better. It just as much as it could have just been like, hey, Gobo, don't go until I figure out what to tie this off to.
Right.
Like, solving the problem doesn't always mean, like, working your way through an issue or, like, a behavior that you have doesn't always mean having to be, like, not doing that problematic or difficult behavior. Sometimes it just means giving people a heads up and asking for the space to work through it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Especially if they're people who are relying on you.
Or even asking Gobo, like, where should I tie this to? Like, just more directly so he knows what to do and it's not suddenly left on him and he feels all of this pressure in the moment, and that really heightens his Wembleyness because he's just so stressed out.
Precisely.
Yeah. Our friend J.D. Hansel was the one who wrote the 40 Years Later article about this episode. And he made a great comparison with, y'all seen The Good Place?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Cheaty.
Yeah.
Cheaty.
Oh, Cheaty.
You put the peeps in the chili and you mix them all up. You put the peeps in the chili and you add the M&Ms.
Exactly.
I've never related harder to someone than when Cheaty was making a massive pot of terrible chili.
And, like, yeah, his inability to make a decision in one certain instance was what ended up, spoiler alerts for The Good Place. You should all watch it. Go watch it. It's amazing. In that one particular instance, it ended up being what got him killed and sent to the bad place.
Mm-hmm.
And JD said something interesting that, like, I don't think had bothered me until I read it. That, like, you know, the Good Place writers kind of dug so hard into that being Chidi's main flaw, but it was also what made him lovable. And so when that changed, you know, yeah, I'm glad that Wembley's still a Wembler at the end of this episode.
I do think there's a middle ground.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll talk about that later. And one of the things that I really appreciate they touch on is, and this is later in the thing, but it's worth naming now. Wembley says, I guess not being able to make a decision is kind of itself a decision.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which it is.
Yeah, no, in my notes I just wrote, wow, BP Dickel, just at me next time.
Right? It's not a decision, Mom. I was born this way. That was a bisexual joke for the straights and I don't know if we have any of those. Anyways, so we get to see Convincing John, and we get to see the song, and I think this is the first like genuine reprise we've gotten.
But between episodes, you might be right. Like, I know we've gotten reprises within the same episode before.
I think we've heard like the Gorgs sing the same song a couple of times.
They've got the rendition of like the Dum Dee Dum that has popped up. It's not the exact same like song reprise, but it's like that melody that like kind of comes back with Junior and Pa.
Fair. So they have a motif, but they don't have a reprise of a song.
Have we had the reprise?
We've seen the Fraggles do like a sad version of a song earlier in the episode, and then when it comes back for the reprise, then suddenly it's upbeat, but it's the same song.
That's really fair, actually. No, this is our first cross-episode reprise.
Yeah.
We haven't gotten a reprise of Follow Me yet.
Are we gonna?
We're gonna.
Yeah. Maybe.
Glorious.
Who knows?
I'm excited.
We'll find out.
But I love this. I love that that is established as like, no, this is his theme song.
Mm-hmm.
Man has backup singers. That's their whole deal. And I love Convincing John.
Clown culture is the same for the Fraggles as it is for us, where clowns have red noses and pointy hats, which I don't know. That I just found that really interesting.
Do you think we got it from them back in the day?
Maybe.
Headcanon.
Silly Creatures and Fraggles had a shared love of clowns, and that transcends both of our culture.
I love that.
I mean, I will say that I loved the later in the episode when we see the Doozers wearing the little red noses. I was like, that's really adorable. Where did they get them? Who knows? It's great.
Yep.
It's so good. I do love that you get to see the Doozers doing little dances.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. The dancing is awesome. It's very cute. It's delightful.
Then we come back to Doc. And Doc is exemplifying the passive aggression inherent in toxic positivity.
Yep.
Sprocket, I don't remember the line word for word, but it's something along the lines of, did you have it?
I think I wrote it down. This should be the one that you're thinking of. It's, mind you, I'd appreciate it if you started to be a bit more positive about the new me and what I can do.
Oh, no, it's a bit before that, where he's like, Sprocket, if I wasn't my new self, I would be getting angry at how annoying your barking is.
Oh, right.
But I am my new self, so I'm not. And it's like, well, you just did, and you did just call his barking annoying. Mm-hmm. You just kind of sidestepped it.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I wrote down this line because the other thing I wrote down was just like, you should appreciate this new thing about me. You should be more positive about this positive thing of me. And it's like, that's not, if you're going to attempt to be an actually positive person, that is not why you are doing it, to like have people respect and like you.
You shouldn't be doing it for the external validation.
Yeah.
But so many people do.
I also wrote down the line, which this line made me laugh. He said, even though it's dark under the floor, there's no reason why there can't be a light in my heart.
Yes.
Which is so weird and cheesy.
With this forced smile.
I could totally see somebody on like a talk show just say that completely straight face and have the audience go, oh.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what insight.
Beautiful. # deep. But yeah, no, like that's that want of external validation. Like people go into positivity because they're running away from something, and it's so much easier to drown that in the temporary dopamine of external validation than to actually process through it.
Yep. So Wembley is still kind of, beating himself up for almost hurting Gobo, and when he realizes that even Boober, he convinced you, Boober, Doom is my middle name, Fraggle, to wear that? he realizes that, well, like, maybe convincing John could help me.
Mm-hmm.
And we get the second warning, because they warned Moki about this last time we saw Convincing John. Boober says Convincing John is dangerous. He can talk anyone into anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that there is that warning of danger. They recognize that this guy is powerful because of what he can do.
Yeah.
Very much so.
It's interesting because they get so excited when he comes through Fraggle Rock, and it feels like Convincing John is really respected, but at the same time, there's also a level of wariness and almost fear to him of like, we really enjoy this guy, but also he's maybe not to be trusted because he's got all of this power, and it's so easy for him to use the power for things like convincing everyone to be clowns.
Right. Like, it seemed like they were fine with that because it seemed like, low stakes and cool. We'll all be clowns for an afternoon. And they all knew that it wasn't permanent, I think.
Yeah.
And then we find out later that to get a permanent change, he has to sing all 3 verses of a song at you.
Yeah. Which, can we talk about that scene? Because that was wild.
Yeah.
So, Wembley, through a fascinating series of coincidences, rolls up to the cave that Convincing John is at, and Convincing John's backup singers come up, and they just start, like, hawking his courses. They're like, oh, we have a wide range of courses, and then they go through them, and I wrote them down because every single one of them is gold.
Yes.
There's a 1-verse basic course, and temporarily thinking of yourself is pretty okay. There's a 2-verse total confidence in public, but still some doubts in private tutorial. And then a 3-verse complete immersion developmental workshop and total belief in your own supremacy. And just, oh, I love it when people take the word salad of a terrible thing and throw it back in their face. Oh.
And then we get a second reprise in the same episode.
Mm-hmm. And so Wembley becomes definite. That's the other thing is he's like, well, Convincing John is the most definite person ever. He can help me become more definite. Which I think what they want is decisive.
Yeah.
Oh, just a minor issue with the terminology here.
Yeah, they're repeating the word definite.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, is that the right word? One tiny thing that I noticed this time around that I did not notice last time when Convincing John is singing this convincing song just for Wembley this time, the moss on the walls in Convincing John's space is in a checkered pattern, like his jacket.
Oh.
There's like a square of moss and then a blank space and then a square of moss, and that's just all over the whole wall.
That's wild.
That's right.
I love it.
I kind of love that, actually.
And Wembley actually leaves when there's 1 verse left.
Oh, yeah, he leaves after 2 verses.
Yeah, which gives us the nice foreshadowing that maybe this isn't permanent.
This ain't gonna last. But so, yeah, he rolls up back into the cave and he's like, Gobo, I want your bed. And Red, I'm gonna organize a bunch of swim stuff. And Moki, I'm gonna get the radishes now. I'm tired of being the siren. And like, the line I have is, as with most positivity courses, Wembley has turned into an
I noted that his first decision is to change his name. Mm-hmm. He starts going by Wilfred, which is what Convincing John was accidentally calling him before.
Convincing John's like, that's your name, right?
Yeah. And so Wembley decides, well, I'm Wilfred now. I've finished Wembling, so I can't be Wembley anymore. But then his second decision, and from there on, are things that affect other people without his consulting them, which is very un-Wembley-like.
Yeah, I mean, he goes to see Convincing John so he can be more, I guess, is it that he's being more definitive? Like, I personally assumed he was going so he could be more decisive, so he didn't, like, pause so much when making these decisions. But he's not being decisive when he comes back. He's taking on people's roles. Like, he says he doesn't want to be a siren anymore, even though we know he really enjoys that a lot. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I got a little confused about what the show's definition of definitive or definite is for Wembley.
So I agree with you that I think there's some depth here. I agree with you that, like, I don't think that's quite the right word. I think they were reaching for the word decisive. Mm-hmm. But I think within the context of, okay, what they meant was decisive, what he's doing actually makes a lot of sense within the understanding of, like, how toxic positivity works.
Okay.
Because this whole thing is I'm indecisive. And so he comes back and he makes a series of immediate, rapid, snap decisions and then immediately sticks to them so that he can feel like he's powerful in a way that he's used to feeling weak.
Yeah.
Now, these decisions aren't necessarily in his own best interest, and they're not, and Moki has a line that really, like, tied this together for me, because he winds up, like, getting hurt. We can talk about that in a second, but Moki has this line, she says, "This was very self-destructive of you."
Yeah.
Because it is. That kind of a wild swing in personality, especially if you're not understanding where the root of any kind of, like, frustrating behavior is coming from, that's self-destructive. And he's making a series of decisions that aren't in his best interest for the sake of being able to feel like he's making a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He wants to feel in control in a way he has not normally felt in control, without understanding why he originally feels helpless in the first place.
Yeah. So he decides that he's going to go into outer space.
Mm-hmm. Because he can, because he wants to.
Yep.
And then he immediately falls in the hole.
Just immediately. Just, wah! And they're carrying him back unconscious, which, whew, 4 puppets carrying another puppet. Love to see it. Fantastic.
Let's see. Is there anything important in the next Doc and Sprocket chunk?
No, at this point, it's just that Doc is, like, kind of throwing positivity out the window.
Yeah.
You know, he says it's been a positive disaster, and he tells Sprocket to stop smiling, and, you know, it's finally, like, worn off on him.
Yeah, he tried, but also he's in a really frustrating situation. It's interesting because they all decide to take him back to, after that, they decide to take him back to Convincing John, and they come up with, they're like, oh, well, yeah, he's really, and the running term that they wind up using from the doc section through the postcard and into them taking him back is inflexibility.
Yeah.
Which I also don't think is the term that they want.
Right.
Necessarily.
Yeah, it's kind of like when, God, inflexibility. Well,
It's not the opposite of decisiveness. It's not the
not.
opposite of definiteness either.
Yeah. And yeah, Wembley is very flexible. He's not going to stick to one thing and then be like, nope, I'm digging my feet in and you can't change my mind. So in that way, I guess it's kind of appropriate, but also, yeah, it doesn't feel like the opposite of definite.
Yeah. If anything, Wembley was inflexibly indecisive.
Oh.
And that hasn't necessarily changed.
Interesting.
Or rather, it has, the root of that hasn't necessarily changed.
Right.
He's got a lot of, like, surface decisions he's being very decisive about. But, like, anyways, did you want to talk a little bit about the traveling map postcard?
There's some creepy statues.
Oh, yeah. Hey, if any listeners out there know where this is, like, it seems like a sculpture garden, but I wasn't able to find anything on Muppet Wiki about where exactly this is. So if anyone knows, drop us a line in the Tough Pigs Discord or on social media. We'd love to give this place a shout out. Some cool statues, some definitely creepy ones. But yes, Traveling Matt is first trying to speak to them and then trying to imitate them.
It felt very similar to the one where he thinks the mannequins are meditating, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Mannequins are just flexible statues. They can move.
Wow.
Oh.
So yeah, some similarities there.
Hashtag deep.
I don't know, I didn't write down who says it, but before the postcard, one of the Fraggle 5, I think maybe it's Gobo, says, what he calls being definite, I call being stupid.
Yeah. But yeah, so the postcard ends with Traveling Matt saying that, so I tried being inflexible too, but found it a singularly unrewarding approach to life here in outer space. But although I would never handle life the way they do, the inflexible silly creatures and I parted as friends. And then when we cut back to the Fraggles, Gobo says, but the difference is if Wembley stays inflexible, he's going to lose all his friends.
Which is true. So they get back to Convincing John, and we get to see Convincing John being indecisive.
Yes.
In his PJs.
In his PJs.
I love that he's sitting there in his, like, undergarments, essentially, but he still has, like, his rings on.
Oh, yeah. Those don't come off. And there's a couple of comments that allude to a thing that I really want to touch on a little bit more, but I'll get to that in a little bit. But there's this bit where they keep calling him Wembley, and Wembley says, I wish you'd all stop using that hideous name. I really hate it.
Yeah.
And one of the things about toxic positivity is so often that, like, desire to change is rooted in self-hatred.
Yes. I wrote that there's lots of self-hate, especially when he sees Convincing John being a Wembler. He's, like, so disgusted by it because often when you see traits that you yourself have portrayed in other people, you don't like them because you also don't like them within yourself.
We hate most about others what we hate about ourselves, as my father would put it.
Yeah, for me, it brings me right back to that scene in The Two Towers that always makes me cry, where Smeagol is arguing with himself, with Gollum, and just that moment where he gives up and just kind of cries helplessly. I hate you. I hate you.
The thing about that is you can't hate yourself into a better version of yourself. If you could, it would have happened already.
Yeah. It would have happened for a lot more people, not just you.
But it doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that. I will say I deeply appreciated the moment in this bluesy song that Convincing John gets to sing, where he's now the Wembler, and he's just standing there in front of two identical suits hung up in the closet, and just kind of like gently touching them. And I was like, oh my God, it's me in my closet before work every morning that I'm just like dissociating, trying not to have to make a decision.
Yeah.
No one should have to make a decision that early in the morning, especially when it affects how people see you. Gross.
God, that's one of the things I've been realizing is really wearing on me about teaching. It's like I have to make like 12 decisions in the first half an hour.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
So bad.
I love this song, and I really like the idea that like the people who sell us this confident image are themselves people with their own struggles and insecurities. And really like what we are being sold is the image of a flawless person.
Yes.
And that's what everybody does, and it's always a different mold, but it's always the same. Like that's what Andrew Tate does. Is he just sells this image of, hey, I'm a perfect person, and you can be like me if you pay me money.
Do y'all listen to the podcast If Books Could Kill?
No, but I'm aware of it.
No, but I kill people with books.
It's very, very good.
The hardback ones, it's a lot easier.
It's Mike Hodges' podcast, right?
No. Yeah, wait.
Michael Hobbs, sorry, not Mike.
Yes.
I don't know what I just called him. It's Michael Hobbs.
Yeah. So it's basically debunking the bad or non-existent science and data in not always right-wing books, but very popular books that have been misleading in some way. And one thing that a lot of these, like, Silicon Valley tech bro books have in common is that they will straight up admit to you that they are grifting you in the book. Like, hey, you don't have to actually be an expert. You just have to convince the person who knows less than you do that you're an expert. And that's all you need to do. That's how you become an expert, apparently.
Being competent and appearing competent are two different skill sets.
Yup.
And one of the more frustrating things in the world is A, critical thinking is being underfunded in schools, and B, most of the people who put their skill points into being competent don't take the time to also put their skill points into appearing competent.
Yeah.
Because they're too busy being interested in the thing that they want to do.
Right. Yeah, doing the thing and communicating the thing and then teaching the thing, those are all very different.
There's also, getting back to the conversation, they're talking to Convincing John, and they're like, yo, you gotta change him back. And Convincing John's like, well, I mean, I don't know, didn't he want to be more definite? And I don't remember the exact line, but they say, yeah, but look at him. And it just cuts, and Wembley is just growling like a feral dog being actively held back. Just,
Yeah, I think that was also what confused me, because I was like, this isn't definite. This isn't... What did Convincing John do to Wembley?
He went just far enough. I think maybe it would have been permanent, but still very much unexplored if he'd gotten to sing that third verse.
Yeah.
And then, maybe down the line, Wembley would have maybe done some internal work of like, oh, okay. But no, this way, when he only got 2 verses, he went just far enough to go really hard on the new me without ever having to examine how he got there, and that causes the major whiplash.
And so we get to see Convincing John put Wembley through the what's it called? Like a trial of decisiveness or something like that.
The definite challenge.
The definite challenge. There it is. And we get the call back to a line earlier where he talks about being indecisive, and this is like a couple of scenes back, and one of his singers is like, yeah, you're indecisive. And he goes, well, yeah, but that's why I'm good at this, because it means I consider every option.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to see him have a bunch of stuff prepped, and the singers are like, how did he even think of that? One of the things that's really frustrating is the things that we get told are weaknesses are oftentimes strengths in the wrong context.
Yep.
There's a line that I don't necessarily think was delivered with all of the proper context and care, but that really stuck with me, by a stand-up comedian. He says, you're supposed to be anxious about paying the rent because that's how the rent gets paid.
Dang.
Like, we evolved to have anxiety because we evolved as a species where there were big stuff that would eat us.
Mm-hmm.
And the people who were the most hair trigger, worried about every little sound and every little broken twig, those are the people who lived and did not get eaten.
Yeah. It makes sense that the most fundamental thing of keeping a roof over your head, even if it's a cave roof, is going to cause anxiety.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that he leans into it and is like, yeah, I let my anxiety help me think of every possible option. It's not every time, but the people I know who have been like struggled a lot with anxiety, when they get put in a real like life or death situation or like a real emergency situation, like 8 times out of 10, they're the people who are like, okay, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. Let's go. Yep. Because they've thought about it a bunch.
Have you seen Inside Out 2 yet?
I've not.
I have.
Okay.
But I have seen the Rocket Jump behind the scenes Hulu show where the director with anxiety gets told the morning of a shoot that she needs to cut like 30% of the shots. And she just does it.
Oof.
Shout out to Ashley Birch.
Nice. I was wondering if that's who it was.
Yeah, that was Ashley Birch.
I haven't seen Rocket Jump, but I'm a big fan of Dungeons and Daddies, so I'm familiar with that world.
I got into her stuff because she also was a writer for Adventure Time.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Yeah, she won an Emmy for Islands.
That's awesome.
That's so good. I wanted to pitch something, and we can cut this, but like, there's episodes and stuff that we do on the Patreon. There's an episode of Adventure Time that takes this whole weakness, strength, disability thing and just like nails it. That I would love to do as like a side thing with y'all to like watch and review and talk about.
Sure.
Could we do that as a Patreon episode?
I mean, I'll talk to the editors, but probably.
Just a quick little one of Adam's Adventure Time corner.
Yeah. You
I would
referenced
love that.
Adventure Time enough that I think that it would fall into the line with what we do for the podcast.
Right.
Rad. Cool.
Side quests.
Side quests.
That's what we'll call it.
Oh, that's so good. So they open the door and like there's a really cool thing behind one door, but then behind the other door is a bunch of like firemen who are going to help harmonize with Wembley's siren.
The first door is just 2 shirts, and they're 2 shirts that look like Wembley's, except I think one is maybe slightly more beige. They look
Yeah, one is a little bit darker.
But then, the other door had the fire siren, like, backup trio for Wembley. And there was, like, a great moment, I think it maybe was Red, where she says, where does this guy get all of this stuff? And it's like, where did he get 3, like, firefighting trio singers to, like, entice Wembley? It's Convincing John is a mystery.
He thinks ahead.
Yeah,
Julia.
I guess so.
He considered every option.
Yeah, maybe he's a recovering Wembler who's experiencing a relapse, but what he's used to doing is thinking of every possible thing and then preparing for it.
Yeah.
And then there's one last beat that I want to touch on because Wembley finally, like, he's super decisive for the first part, and then he, like, wobbles a little on the second one, then he finally just breaks down and can't decide, and goes back to being Wembley. And everyone is so happy.
Yeah.
And it's like, one, Wembley, the things that you might hate about yourself might be the things that people love about you. And 2, hey, everybody else, if that's the thing you like, stop giving him crap for it.
Yeah, also that.
Christ.
Although maybe this is their moment of, like, they were giving him crap for it because they were taking it for granted. Like, they didn't know what could go wrong if Wembley changed.
Fair.
Now they know.
Hopefully they know. We'll see if that changes anything.
Yeah.
So then we go back to Doc, and we get maybe my favorite Doc moment in the whole series so far. He says, some things you should get angry about.
Yeah.
Pretending everything's okay when it isn't is just plain silly. I was like, yes, Doc, preach. That is exactly the truth.
Yes.
Hold the people in your life with power accountable for the decisions that they are responsible for.
Mm-hmm. So he calls the landlord like he was going to do originally.
And is very firm with some emotion behind it. Oh, glorious.
And the landlord turns his water back on, which can, especially in this era, don't you have to be on site to turn water on and off unless you're like at a water facility? Like, how is the landlord doing that from his place?
Oh.
Magic.
Good question.
Like, wouldn't he have to go to Doc's place and turn the water off and physically be there? Unless he's like at... I don't know.
I think you're very right.
I don't know enough about
Oh my god, did we find a seam in the world building?
Yes, so. I don't know enough about plumbing and water and like how all of it works.
No, yeah, you need to turn it off at the service line. That's how that works.
So like, was he on the phone outside of Doc's house being like, I'm turning it on right now? That doesn't...
Oh, maybe.
But he wouldn't have a cell phone.
Yeah,
It didn't exist.
Yeah, there were no cell phones.
Maybe he called the water company and said, turn off the water to this particular tenant's house?
Maybe.
All right, y'all, everybody listening, I'm sorry to say, it's been a really good run, but we are up to one seam in the world building.
Oh, come on. We found little seams before.
Nope.
Also,
one seam.
Also, I'm sure the writers were like, children don't know how turning water on and off works. This is the final beat of the episode. It's fine. We'll wrap it up this way. But I had the moment where I was like, I don't know if that's how that works, but okay. Show.
Serves those writers right for not stopping to think that maybe grown adults would be reviewing this 40 years
on
later.
A podcast.
They should have thought of that.
A thing they didn't even know would exist.
Those writers should have A, predicted that podcasts would exist, and then B, predicted that a bunch of neurodivergent adults would review this and understand enough about how water works to realize it's crap.
And if we have any listeners out there that were like, actually, the way that plumbing worked in Canada in the 80s, you could actually blah, blah, blah. Let us know if you have that knowledge.
Yeah, by all means.
I love this moment because he, like, exclaims loudly that negative emotion has value, calls the landlord and gets it fixed, and then gives Sprocket water.
Yes. Good job, Doc.
Good job, Doc. All right, Beth, you want to tell us about the international episodes?
So one note is that in this episode, the lyrics were not necessarily written by the same... Dennis Lee probably wrote the lyrics for the third one, but for The Cloud Concerto and A Tiger and a Terror, those lyrics were written by the episode's writer, B.P. Nichol. And as for the international versions, let's see here. In the UK version, the captain is inspired by a repair manual to fix more things by himself. When he notices that there's no water coming from his faucet, he decides to fix them. Sprocket has been using his tongue to lick stamps for the captain, just like the Canadian version, but in the UK version, he is more upset about not getting anything to drink. When the captain is looking around in the hole in the floor, he finds a large bone that he thinks might have belonged to Sprocket. Uncle Traveling Matt's postcard is the same as in the Canadian version, but as usual in the UK version features an instrumental version of All Around the World in the background. Near the end, the captain finally decides to call the water board, and his dialogue plays out similarly to the Canadian version. Sprocket is very desperate for a drink by now, and the captain says he hasn't even got any milk in the lighthouse. He then decides that they should get some from the old well. Presumably water, not milk, from the old well. Before they leave, he turns off both of the taps. He turns off both of the taps in case the water board suddenly turns the water back on. At that moment, the water bursts from the hole in the floor, and Sprocket jumps forward to drink from it. The captain also jumps into the hole, and soon both are soaking wet. Okay, that's cute.
That is kind of cute, yeah.
And in the German version, Uncle Matt's postcard in the German version is the sequence about marionettes in San Francisco that was seen in the Canadian version of episode 112, The Finger of Light.
Brad?
Yep, that's all I got.
Shall we talk about how to make the world a little fragglier? A lot of times this minimization of the negative emotion that we see can also stem from a place of not wanting to be a burden to the people around you. Minimizing your own negative emotions makes it harder to work with you for the people who actually care about you.
Ooh.
Don't do that.
And I'll go a little bit the opposite way, not entirely, but I think that there is a lot of good that can come from being dedicated to trying to have a more positive outlook. but you should do it because it's going to better your own life and those around you, and not make it your whole personality and also be passive in your toxic positivity and all of this. You should do it because it ultimately will hopefully make your life a little bit better, and tangentially the people around you as well. Just don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, you should do it because we have a natural evolutionary tendency to focus on the negative things, because it used to be those things would get us killed.
Yes.
And it's worth practicing being grateful for the positive things in balance and proportion.
And I say that as someone who's actively, I feel like I hold anger a lot more these days. It's very easy to do in the world we currently live in, and I've been trying to practice positivity, and it's hard.
It is a difficult thing.
But it's important some days. But also anger's also important. So also everything Adam said.
Oh, let's see. If your friend is struggling with their identity and they're going down like a bad road that you're trying to save them from, you can at least use the name they insist on being called in the meantime.
Thank you.
Don't dead name your friends.
Don't do it. You want to plug your pluggables?
You can find me on social media at Beth Anna Cook. That's Anna with 2 N's, and occasionally writing stuff for Tough Pigs.
And you can find me at Geek Girl Grown Up on social media, JuliaGaskell.com for some poetry, and also occasionally writing for Tough Pigs.
You can find me hiding in the wings of your nearest toxic positivity conference with an air horn and a super soaker full of cat.
Oh, cool.
All right, that is it for this episode. Reminder to check out toughpigs.com, give us a good review on your podcatcher of choice, and we will see you next time.
Don't forget to dance your cares away.
Down at Fraggle Talk.
Fraggle Talk Classic is brought to you by toughpigs.com. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Hulteen Jr. The Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company. All rights reserved. The Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company and the entire Fraggle Rock family. For more from Tough Pigs, please find us at Tough Pigs on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, TeePublic, and Patreon. Fraggle Talk Classic is produced and edited by me, Beth Cook. Thank you to Joe Hennis, the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time, down at Fraggle Talk.
Okay, while we're in stuff that's going to get cut, so they open the door and like there's a really cool thing behind one door, but then behind the other door is a bunch of like firemen who are going to help harmonize with Wembley's siren. Did anybody else think they looked a little bit like firemen strippers? Or do I need to go touch grass?
It was such a fast shot. I don't think I even registered what they looked like.
I mean, Fraggles don't wear much clothes anyway.
I should go touch grass then, huh?